It's time now for the award-winning #1 local talk show in Northeast Pennsylvania, The Sam Lesante Show. Now here's your host, Sam Lesante.
Hi everyone, I'm Sam Lesante and welcome to the Sam Lesante Show. And we're on location here, folks, at the Pottsville Club, where the Schuylkill County candidates for commissioners will be having a debate. And this is one of the many shows we'll be doing here in Schuylkill County on Samson Productions SSP TV. And now, here are the candidates.
Any questions at all from the candidates? All right, then let's get going. We're going to start with the opening statements, and the rotation is this. Candidate A was Frank Staudenmeier, Candidate B, George Halkovich, Candidate C, Gary Hess, and Candidate D, John Platchko. Frank?
Good morning. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the Chamber once again for providing this venue to hear the candidates, and Jeff and your committee for doing all the hard work and putting this all together. As I stood in the back this morning greeting everyone coming in, it became very apparent to me that I believe I do know most of you, and most of you do know who I am. However, I did see some new faces and some younger faces, which essentially tells me two things. One, I hate to admit, I'm getting a little older, and two, this chamber continues to grow. And my hat is off to the chamber, and as the chamber grows, so grows the county. And we need to grow together, obviously. But for those of you who do not know who I am, I was born and raised in Schuylkill County, lived in Schuylkill County all of my life. Married to my wife, Kate, for 38 years. We have 2 children that live in Schuylkill County, and absolutely 2 wonderful, wonderful grandchildren. My background is with Pennsylvania Power and Light Company. Worked for them for 25 years, 17 of those years right here in Schuylkill County. And that afforded me the opportunity to work with many people like yourselves sitting out here this morning and working together to make a better Schuylkill County. And subsequently, in 2002, I was appointed county commissioner. And I had the privilege and the pleasure of serving as your county commissioner for the last 9 years. And it is my desire to work with you again for 4 more years, because we all have the same desire in mind, to make this county the best it possibly can be. Thank you.
I also am going to thank the Chamber for everything they've done, but another group I want to thank also is our military, because without the freedoms that we have here, we would not be here having this debate. I respect all of the other candidates. We have good people on both sides. I'm very proud to be the candidate with and partner with Frank Staudenmeier. People have asked me, why have I decided to run? Bottom line, I care. I've given back community service-wise. I've chaired SCEDA. I've been on for 16 years. Commissioners Paul Shears and Franklin Schallenberger appointed me to SCEDA. I've chaired the City of Pottsville Hospital Authority. I've been on Dawson School Board for the Diocese of Allentown for 6 years. I've served on national insurance agency boards. I've also been involved with fire companies and with Crime Stoppers and with Meals on Wheels, with the Thanksgiving Day meal program. One of the things I've learned with my family is that you give back to your community that is given to you. And that is the bottom line of why I'm running. I'm running with Frank Staudenmeier, is because I care. I care about this county. I care about our future. I care about the economic climate that we have here. I care that we are going to need to bring good paying jobs in with benefits, as we did with High Ridge. As I said, my SCEDA time and also my time with SEDCO, we've been able to work in collaboration on a business partnership along with government partnership as we all come together to make Schuylkill County a better place. For those who don't know me, my name is George Halkovich. I have 5 children, 5 grandchildren, one on the way, God willing, and also married to my wife, Barbara, for 33 years, and I'm president of Morgan Halkovich Insurance Agency in Minersville. I thank you.
Good morning, everyone. First, let me again add some sentiments by thanking the Schuylkill Chamber of Commerce for hosting this debate this morning. This is an excellent forum to help inform you, the citizens of Schuylkill County, that surrounds this and the issues that surround this election. I'd also like to thank all the staff, committee, and board members of the Schuylkill Chamber of Commerce for the excellent work it has done into promoting and to helping business while working to increase the economic values within the county. I definitely prospered from that, being a member of the Schuylkill Chamber of Commerce. As you know, I am a caterer, Hess Catering, owned and operated it from Schuylkill Haven for the past 32 years. I'm married to my lovely wife, Sandy, and I have 2 kids. I'm currently serving also as the mayor of Schuylkill Haven for the past 6. But one thing I want to get is just to let you a little know about this election. November 8th, Election Day, is an important day for Schuylkill County. A day for you, the citizens, to set the course and the direction for Schuylkill County by electing the right leadership to lead this county forward. Right now, we are all experiencing difficult times, but like in the past, we can prevail through this storm. Prevail by working together for and in the best interest of the Schuylkill County citizens. After traveling this county for the past 10 months, we have asked for your input, ideas, and concerns about Schuylkill County. From this information, we have laid the foundation of our platform, the people's platform. Once elected, we'll work to get all resources together to create and retain good-paying jobs by making Schuylkill County attractive for businesses to come here. For we need to slow down the out-migration of our talented youth by providing them with employment opportunities right here in our own backyard. We need to continue to look at opportunities to save and to cut expenses while holding the line on taxes, and to do this while continuing to provide the needed services for our county to keep our citizens safe, providing good service for our veterans, senior citizens, and special needs. These are just a few challenges that face us, for together we can strengthen the foundation of our communities and build a strong future for our children and ourselves. Thank you.
First off, Bob, Bill, Jeff, and the rest of the chamber, thank you for hosting this debate this morning. It's nice to be able to get out and meet people in the industries that are looking for us to help lead you into the future. Coming in today, I recognized many of you, but I'm sure many of you don't know me. I'll introduce myself a little bit. I'm John Platchko. Grew up in St. Clair, went to Pottsville Area High School. After high school, went to DeSales University, graduated from there down the Lehigh Valley, and came home. This is where I wanted to be. This is where I wanted to start my family and raise my family. After college, I was offered jobs outside of the area, but I didn't want to go. I came back. I worked my first year. I had 7 W-2s my first year out of college, and then I found my job, my passion, my career. It was in the construction industry. I worked for Universal Forest Products in Gordon. Many of you know that place up there, which is it's a hidden gem of the county. Employs over 200 people just in the county, just in Gordon alone. After that, I went to Culpeper Wood Preservers. Launched a section of their business and was very successful at it. And at that point, I decided, if I don't start my own business now, I never will. So I rolled the dice. I started my own business, American Deck of Eastern Pennsylvania. 2 years into that, we diversified. We became Platchko Building and Remodeling. We are now a full-service building and remodeling company. I grew up around the courthouse. My mom was in the courthouse for 27 years. I was probably the only 8-year-old that was ever at a commissioner's meeting because they wanted to be there, not because they were dragged there. It always intrigued me, and I always said, when the opportunity comes, I'm going to do it. The opportunity is here now. Our current commissioners have done a great job. Gary and I want to follow in their footsteps and continue to move the county forward. Leadership for the future is what we call it, and we want to bring that leadership with us to the courthouse. Today you're going to hear some of our things that we're going to do and how we're going to make the county better. Thank you.
The area of human services is a very large part of county-provided services with significant federal and state funding streams and many mandates. What would you do to address the human services area as a priority for Schuylkill County? Do you have perceptions of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats related to human service programming within the county? How should the county commissioners and human service officials continue to deal with unfunded mandates?
That's exactly what county government is all about, is providing human services. And when I was appointed county commissioner in 2002, it became very apparent to me after about 6 months in office in April of '03 that the county was in very serious financial straits. And subsequently, at the end of '03, we needed to have a tax increase in Schuylkill County. I made a commitment at that time that we will operate in the most efficient way we possibly can to avoid those tax increases and to provide the services in the most efficient way that we know how. And what we have done over the last 7 years is consolidate many, many jobs to continue to provide those services. We initiated a concept called zero-based budgeting, where we challenged each and every department head and each and every row officer when they came to the table, not to start at last year's budget, but to start at zero. And typically in county government, they would start at the previous year's budget and add 3%. Well, what we brought from corporate America was that you start at zero and you justify every single expense. What that has translated into for the last 7 years is no tax increase in Schuylkill County. And again, I applaud all of our department heads that provide those services. It's very, very, very important that we continue to do that. And you have my commitment that we will continue to provide each and every service. We need to protect our children. We need to provide the services for our seniors. We need to provide emergency management services in the most efficient way we know how.
Well, definitely with human services, definitely I know as serving as mayor of Schuylkill Haven, it's one main interest that especially is serving in a local municipality. One thing that I looked at when I ran 6 years ago was the first thing was public safety. And naturally, that's what people want to look out, that you're taking care of the people, and that's why you're getting elected for that. Naturally, we need to take care of our children, ones that sometimes can't take care of themselves, our special needs, sometimes that it is out there in the community, which we need to make sure that they're embodied into the county and into around different surroundings, because they're God's special children. Our elder services, the elder abuse program which was formed, which is an excellent program which we need to continue, and actually a watchdog to oversee those people, whether they're in nursing homes or taking care in their personal homes. And again, emergency management. Can't say enough, that comes #1 priority is public safety. A lot of things when people move to a community, they look, are they going to be safe? Are they going to have a good education? And is the community good and clean? And human services ties that in. Naturally, that comes with a budget and a cost. And definitely we need to look at those things. And I must say that the current commissioners did an excellent job on the cost-cutting savings to keep those services. And in my opening statement, those are some things that I said that we'll work to try and to do, is to keep those services, because those are the things and the basic input in the heart of what this community's about. And that's why we're elected, to take care of our people and those services. Again, with the funding, we know their government handed down funding mandates, but we need to go back to maybe our state legislature and also find some more funding to help in that manner, rather than putting the burden a lot on our taxpayers.
This question deals with unfunded liabilities and mandates. County government seems to have many unfunded liabilities and many unfunded mandates imposed upon it by state and federal government. What are the top 3 unfunded liabilities facing Schuylkill County government? How would you propose to address these unfunded liabilities through the county budgeting process? What unfunded liabilities might be worked on for elimination to better address the desire of county residents for tax relief? This is a 5-part question, so just bear with me. Is the concept of tax reduction through liability elimination reasonable to expect of a county commissioner, and how would you address if elected? You can answer any one of those. I'll leave it here for you.
Unfunded liabilities, obviously, and mandates. The state comes out and says we need to do things. We need to take care of our problems, our issues. Not even problems or issues, but departments. My thinking on and my beliefs on unfunded mandates and liabilities, we need to fund them. They might be unfunded, they might be considered unfunded. We need to find out a way to fund them. We need to create the positions, we need to create the jobs for people to come in here and work to increase our tax base. We increase our tax base, those unfunded positions or liabilities, mandates, they become funded. We increase revenues in the county by doing this. How do we do that? Well, we work to bring the companies in. We work with the organizations that do it, and we educate. We educate our kids, our youth. We need to put out a skilled workforce. If we don't put out a skilled workforce, it's going to be hard to bring a company in. The concept of tax reduction through liability elimination, I don't think it's a possibility. You don't want to cut services. If you start cutting services, you start cutting fire department money, you start cutting police services, you start cutting prison services and probation and parole, you're creating a bad environment. You're creating an environment where criminals are running the street. You are not attacking the issues that are there. You need to be proactive, take a leadership role and a proactive leadership role to make those unfunded mandates or liabilities funded. That's my take. I look at things a little differently, a little bit outside of the box. It's easy to say yes, no to an answer, but the way I'm looking is to go outside and change the unfunded part of that question. Thank you.
One of the jobs as a county commissioner, again, from a leadership standpoint, is to work with our federal and our state governmental officials to help to bring things to the county. One of the things that I think is very important, and those of you who have been very involved with the Chamber and SCEDA, you have the situations with the public-private partnerships that have been taken place. And I use High Ridge as an example. It is such a good collaboration of all different people coming from all different segments of the community, not only government, but also private businesses. As far as the unfunded liabilities, yes, we have a responsibility to our taxpayers and to our citizens. However, we've got to be very professional about that and run it as a business. County business is big business. We're looking at a $50 million budget. When we talk about the people who we hire at the courthouse, we have some great people at the courthouse. And what happens is they're the people who are the experts in their areas. I don't have all the answers, neither does anyone here that we have all the answers. But we surround ourselves by good people who are going to get the job done. I challenge all the department heads, I challenge all the employees, I challenge everyone in this room to help make Schuylkill County a better place. If there's a way, and we're all in business, we all know that as costs go up, we're trying to figure out ways to cut things down. So we've got to look at it as big business and try to get everything going along the right way, that we keep our costs down. And again, we are responsible to our taxpayers. End of the subject. They are the most important people. And as long as we work with our state legislators, our federal people, we're going to make Schuylkill County a great place to live and work. Thank you.
This question deals with PLAs, project labor agreements. Schuylkill County government undertook the discussion of the use of a project labor agreement for Schuylkill County government construction projects, specifically fueled at the time by the potential utilization of a PLA for the proposed pre-release facility project. At the request of concerned members, the Chamber Executive Committee, on behalf of the Chamber Board of Directors, directed a letter to the current county commissioners in opposition to the use of a PLA for the pre-release facility project or for any other county government project. The basic premise of the opposition is that the Chamber supports and promotes free enterprise for all Chamber members and any interested parties. The commissioners debated and subsequently approved the use of a PLA for county projects via a 2-to-1 vote at their commissioners' meeting on Wednesday, January 19th of this year. If elected county commissioner, will you support or oppose the use of PLAs for county government projects, and why?
Quick answer, I'm opposed to the PLAs. I look at it from the standpoint, we're all in business. We have a situation where, as we are in business, and again, everyone would go out into a situation where we're trying to bid, whether it be myself bidding on someone's insurance, I want to have an even playing field. I want to have a situation where everyone has an opportunity. 88% of our workforce is non-union. I want to be able to have a level playing field. I respect the unions. I respect the people who work in the unions. I respect the fact that they are good people, good tradesmen. However, I want to get the best price that I can. I insure quite a few contractors, and I have contractors who are general contractors who, when they go and bid something out and they want to get someone from the standpoint of a subcontractor, they have subcontractors who may be union contractors. Why did they take them? Because they are the most responsible bidder. They came in with a lower price, and they're going to do a good job. That is one thing that we have to look at from that standpoint. We have a great workforce here in Schuylkill County, and I want to make sure that the playing field is level for everyone. Everyone has a responsible way to bid on projects. And do I want to keep business here in Schuylkill County? Yes, I do. I think everyone here, when you hear something going to out of the area, it is very frustrating to see when you know that you can provide the same services here. And isn't it amazing sometimes, and those who are in business know, sometimes the person who's the expert is a guy who has a briefcase and is going 30 miles away. We don't realize the talent that we have in this county. And I think that we really need to work to build those people in Schuylkill County to do the best thing, and so everyone can prosper. Our success is your success. As we are county commissioners, we're going to make sure that we are going to use the most responsible bidder from that standpoint. Thank you very much.
The problem with a level playing field is it's not always level. Davis-Bacon Act is supposed to level the playing field when you're not looking at a PLA. It doesn't. There's cheaters. Just flat out, there's cheaters. I'm in this business. I'm in the construction business. People cheat in the business. It happens. The only way to assure that the people working on the sites are getting paid what they should be paid and they're legal workers is by having a PLA. Would I support a PLA 100% on every project? No. Will I support a PLA if it's looked at subjectively? Yes. One way, like I said right now, that is the only way to assure that they are legal workers on job sites. One thing we had talked about right now is to, again, it's all subjective with the PLAs, but one thing we want to do immediately is create a position of a compliance officer. This person will go around to all the job sites that are funded by the county, state, federal, whatever taxpayer money is funding it. This compliance officer will be on the job site. They'll be out there making sure that the people that are working there, one, are legal, and two, they're being paid the proper wage. Whether there's a PLA or not, there is a standard. There is a level that needs to be met when you're paying your employees. The only way to do, well, there's two ways we feel now. One is a PLA, and two is the compliance officer. So to answer that question straight, like I said, countywide, every project, no. Subjectively, when is possible, yes. But the compliance officer, we feel, is an immediate thing we can do right away to create a position, a good paying position, and enforce the laws.
Okay. This deals with prison overcrowding in the pre-release facility. The pre-release facility was the major issue debated during the 2007 commissioner election campaign. The Democratic candidates were clearly advocating for the pre-release facility construction as necessary due to prison overcrowding, while the Republican candidates were in opposition, citing construction and operating cost deficiencies. As we know, the pre-release facility has been taken off the table for now due to construction costs deemed to be prohibitive. Where do you stand on this issue? Is this issue dead? Is the Schuylkill County prison overcrowding a real issue, or is it manageable? If prison overcrowding needs to be addressed, what would be your answer to addressing the issue?
Well, first of all, in the pre-release center, a thing was tried to come up with a solution on the pre-release center. The budget amounts didn't come to it. The commissioners held to that level, that plateau of where it was going to go, and held true to what they said to the citizens if it was going to cost this amount. But the problem that still exists is the problem. The problem's not going to go away. There's still overcrowding over there. You're putting guards in harm's way sometimes because they're overworked most times and trying to take care of a population over there that's not in the most friendly. Again, we're looking at a pre-release center that is the non-offenders, mostly DUIs and so forth like that. If this isn't the case that we can build up from mortar on up, we need to look at some other advantages of what we can do. Again, we don't want the state to come in now, and since we're in the process of bidding and so forth, they put that off as far as fining us every time that we were in an overcrowding situation. That possibility could come down that we're going to be getting fined. And maybe the possibility, again, I don't know how the state works, I can't, but just a hypothetical that they can come and say, well, now the problem exists there, now you have to build a new prison. And now where are we going to come up with the $50 to $60 million to build a new prison? We need to collectively, across the table, to look at this problem. It needs to be addressed. It can't be put away. We need to either look at maybe another building that we can transform, maybe in the close proximity of the county prison that'll fall within those parameters to do that, to solve this issue. Again, just saying no on a lot of things is not going to do that. We got to come up with other solutions, and again, to work across the table, because it is an existing problem, and I believe it will continue until we solve it.
I believe everybody knows my position and knew my position from day one, that we continue to look at the least cost alternative. I always said that we need to avoid bricks and mortar. We need to look at house arrests. We need to look at monitors and those type of things that other counties are doing. And we did say if this pre-release facility came in over budget, I said from day one that I would absolutely be against it. And to the credit of my fellow commissioners, all three of us voted against it. And again, we do need to look at the least cost alternative. We can't put this on the backs of our taxpayers. It would have been a very big ticket item. It was a multi-million-dollar facility. In these economic times, there is no way that we could build this type of facility. I will say our sheriff is doing a good job in getting the prisoners out and getting them to state facilities. And I will say this, for the last year, amazingly, our county prison population has hovered anywhere between 240 and 250, which is almost at our max. So it is manageable, and we can do it.
As we know, property tax reform has been debated in Pennsylvania and the state legislature for decades. Most citizens believe property tax reform is necessary and that property taxes are regressive and unfair. The debate is how to shift taxation to a more equitable solution, as tax revenue is necessary to support state-funded services. The lack of property tax reform has created and continued spot assessment of properties as they change hands from owner to owner. While county government is prohibited from this spot assessment technique, the law allows it for school districts. This creates another perception of inequity, since a home sold in a housing neighborhood could see its assessment change to something dramatically greater than a similar neighboring home. I'm getting to the question here. Schuylkill County government has not instituted a countywide reassessment of property since 1997. This creates the background of the opportunity for school district revenue through the spot assessment process based on home sales. Where do you stand on countywide property assessment? Should property assessment be performed by the county on a more regular basis? If so, what is a reasonable time frame to allow between countywide reassessments? How do you feel about school district spot assessments? You have 37 minutes for your...
God bless you, I'll tell you. One of the neat things in the county, and I think that one thing that we have to always remember is about open communication. And I give credit to the Schuylkill Haven School District and also the Blue Mountain School District and also our state senator, our state representatives for putting together some forums. There was a commissioners forum that we sat down with school board members, that we sat down with superintendents to talk about the property tax reform. Absolutely. Is it a problem? There's no question about it. How do we review this? We heard the story of a gentleman who bought a home, figured he was fine on that home, and all of a sudden there was a spot assessment that was done and his taxes doubled. Can he afford the home? can our seniors afford their home with the taxes that we have right now? As far as property tax reform, again, it's not a commissioner's duty to do. That is for our state legislators to do. That is for our state senators, that is for our governor. But what we need to do is we need to, again, the only way I see us keeping a level field, and let's talk about the market value right now. There's a common level ratio that we are now, at this point, at the same level that we were probably at 1996, 1997, as far as what market values are. Those in real estate know. Your values, where they were up here before, are down here now. The school boards are trying to, again, as we are going to do on county government, trying to pare down as much of our expenses as we can. We must be responsible. We must do it the right way. There's a responsibility that we have to try to bring in good paying jobs with benefits. I was very proud to chair the Industrial Development Authority also, where we were able to bring in a Lowe's, a Wegmans. We work with the county commissioners, we work with SEDCO. I'm on the SEDCO board. And that is the only way that we're going to, if we add people into the tax base, that is where we're at. Would we like to get to something other than property taxes? Absolutely. I feel bad for that senior citizen whose garbage bill goes up $5 and they're struggling to figure out how they're going to afford it. I look at all the different people in this room that own property. Is it fair? Is it equitable? It's tough. It is really tough out there. But we have got to work together. And again, this is not a Democratic or Republican issue. This is a Schuylkill County issue. The best way that we could do it is by bringing the great minds together so we can solve it. And again, I thank the school districts for having that open communication, because the only way we do things well is if everyone comes to the table and talks about them together to solve the problems. Thank you.
It's a funny thing, 2005 when I ran for mayor, this question was proposed to me at the same time in a debate when I ran for mayor on how I felt on not just spot appeals, but also on tax reform. Again, the bottom line is we need to fund our education. That's the biggest bottom line, and we need to collectively work together on how to do that on some things. Whether that's coming from a sales tax and cutting property tax and working that. I think that's the needed thing to do that, because again, a lot of our seniors, I've seen too many that have raised their kids, get to the nice age of retirement, ready to do, and then they can't afford their taxes and they have to sell their homes. And they end up into either personal cares, the high rise or whatever. And again, I'm not saying they're bad places to go, but this was home. And again, to leave those things go on things, that's where this is a very important issue that we need to look at. Spot appeals, are they fair? No, they're not, because they're singling out people down the line on whether they go in, they buy a new home, all of a sudden a new couple, and then next thing you know, they're hit with this big tax assessment where they didn't know they were going to get hit with that. And that's one thing sometimes that didn't have to divulge all of those things when they were getting the information. They knew the tax base, but then finally when they were doing after settling, they found out their taxes were going to go up because they were going to get reassessed. It's not a fair thing. It's not helping the housing market, which in the end of the run, it's not helping the jobs and so forth and putting money back in the economy. Naturally, if that housing market's up, the economy is going to be better. So is it an issue? It's a nerve that basically goes right out through. We need to look at. One thing, and as assessment, as far as the county on the thing, it costs about $8 to $10 million on an assessment. So we need to make sure we have that money if we can do that. And maybe what to do is to get the state legislature to change the law that we can do that in an easy time frame, that we can do certain parts and maybe do that within house to do that. And in this way, it's done on a regular basis.
The Chamber has a very active transportation committee working in collaboration with many partners, including Congressman Holden, our state senator and state representatives, county planning, NEPA, PennDOT, local engineers and planners, and local municipalities. Various issues develop within the Transportation Committee related to transportation needs within Schuylkill County. Traffic signals and the acceptance of responsibility for those same signals within municipalities scheduled for major state road projects have created debate and subsequent delays in projects. The county has a policy regarding assumption of traffic signals, but only as it relates to economic development, not as a substitute for the responsibility of municipalities within the project area. Are you familiar with this issue, and how would you address it as commissioner? Is the current county policy on traffic light ownership helpful or confusing? And if revisions are necessary, what are your suggestions?
First of all, on the Transportation Committee, I'd like to give them kudos on all the work they have done over these past years of looking at the roads, infrastructure, bridges, and so forth. And again, because again, we're in an aging county, not only in age, is also our infrastructure is aging. And if we don't continue to put money and to reinvest back into those communities, we can't get those jobs and so forth coming in. As far as the responsibility on various projects and lights, and I'm familiar with, I guess, this one issue. It's not the deal with my borough, but the thing is I think if that you have a responsibility within protecting your citizens within your jurisdiction. If that light is there, that you need to make sure that it's a safety factor in there, you can hopefully work together with either the county or the state, whether it's a state road or whatever, to work together to make sure those maintenances are done. It needs to be done because of having that safety factor in there. Also on the projects that are coming up, I'm definitely familiar with one, is the Route 61 widening through our community. There was, I guess, citizens that were concerned about it. Naturally, when you have change through anything, there is always concerns. We had concerns definitely as a borough as far as moving our infrastructure, our water and sewer, to make sure that that was covered, because again, that's about $500,000 to $750,000 we would have had to put out. Want to make sure the funding was there or we could sustain that, because that's a lot of hit on our community. Is it a needed thing? Yes, it's a needed program. That junction right there slows down movable traffic from 78 all the way up to 81. Opening that up is going to open up corridors. And it will be done in a safety way, because we sat down with PennDOT supervisors. Will there be changes down the line? Naturally in those, and we need to do those. But we need to, each municipality, again collectively, we talked about this all today, together as a county and each municipality, we need to sit down and understand where you're coming from. We need to reach out a little bit more and understand where you're coming from. I know it's a separate governing body, but we need to figure out where your problems, so we can understand those things and to work it out together. Because if we work it out together, we can solve many things and accomplish. And to make sure that this infrastructure and the transportation system through Schuylkill County is number one, because again, that's what businesses look for, that they can get their people in and out in a timely and fastly manner to help things progress.
As far as transportation goes, I know that in our situation in the state, our county is the only county that actually has responsibility for some of the traffic signals. It is the local municipality's responsibility for those traffic signals. And I agree that, again, we need to have that open communication to work together to do the best thing for the county. Again, when you're talking about transportation, and let's talk about economic development along with that, when you look at the Interstate 81 corridor, when you look at Interstate 78, when you look at Southern Schuylkill County, you look at Northern Schuylkill County, there are companies that are out there, and knowing this from dealing with SEDCO and dealing with SCEDA, there are companies out there that look for this. We are in such a good location, and this is going to bring new jobs into the area. We have to look at our rail that we have that are coming into different areas. For some of the projects out in the Tower City area, there is rail that is out there, and that's going to help to bring new industry in. As far as the traffic signals, yes, we need to work together on it, but we have to also look to do it in the most responsible manner. Thank you very much.
Job creation and job growth. The creation of good jobs is an outcry from the citizens of Schuylkill County. How would you address the current economic conditions, and what plan would you formulate as county commissioner to lead the county through these difficult times in a direction of job growth? What specifically would you suggest as elements of your plan?
You know, the best example I can give is when we were I was with PP&L at the time, and we were trying to attract Walmart, the Walmart distribution center. And I was an officer with SEDCO also, and that was one of the most highly competitive projects up and down the eastern seaboard. And what we did, we brought together not only the state legislative delegation, the county commissioners, but we brought people together at the table from the healthcare community, the educational community, social services, and we sat down with the corporate executives of Walmart and demonstrated to them that we work as a community and we work together. There's not one entity in Schuylkill County that can bring in business and industry by themselves. It's all about cooperation and collaboration, and that's the only way we'll get it done. I never thought I would see the day that we would be looking for more land up at the High Ridge Business Park, over in Tide, in Tamaqua, and you know, when we started up at High Ridge, we had over 2,000 acres. Now we're starting to look for more land. But again, it's all about cooperation and collaboration. And we need to work together with this Chamber of Commerce, with the Manufacturers Association, with SEDCO. Remember this, we all in this room have a vested interest in Schuylkill County, and that is to make Schuylkill County the best that it possibly can be. And the only way we're going to do that is if we work together. Thank you.
One of the ways Commissioner Stoudemire just said about working together, we are proposing to have an educational summit within our first 3 months in office if we are elected in. We are going to bring a skilled workforce. It's what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Do you have the skilled workforce first and then get the companies, or do you get the companies and then get the skilled workforce? We want to have a summit with all of the local government, our state legislators, and all of our educators in the county, all the main players and with all the educational systems in the county, not only high schools, VOTECs, colleges, secondary education places, to bring that skilled workforce. So when a company does come and is looking at Schuylkill County or Luzerne County or somewhere in Kentucky to come here, we want to say we have people to put in place for you to bring your business here. To recruit businesses to the area, we need to be proactive. We need to go after them, not just the SEDCOs and Skeeters of the world. We need to also get involved in recruiting individually. We have to go to these companies and show them what we can offer. Our biggest resources are our people and our land. We show them we have this available and they will come, especially if we're educated and we have that workforce.
This question deals with drug and alcohol problems facing the county. A quiet but deadly epidemic continues to adversely affect Schuylkill County. Drug and alcohol abuse and addiction is adversely affecting our youth at earlier ages than ever before. The use of opiates, methamphetamines, bath salts, cocaine, and heroin has become pervasive within the county, and this drug abuse is threatening to cost us a lost generation of young adults. In older adults, the routine use of alcohol and marijuana continues to impair our workforce and creates job hiring issues during pre-employment physicals and ongoing job performance problems. These issues lessen the ability of willing employees to hire job-ready and prepared employees and to keep good people employed in Schuylkill County. Do you believe we are facing a crisis in the war on drugs? If so, what role would you play as county commissioner to address what appears to be an epidemic situation?
So we talked a little bit about education again. We get in our schools, we teach, but not only that, then we also have the nonprofit organizations out there, the WIC, the SARC, these nonprofits that are out there that are able to get in households and educate. If a child is growing up and he sees his father beating his mother or his brother using drugs and nothing is done about it, he's going to think it's okay. We need to change that. We need to change the thinking on that, and we do that by getting in there, by supporting our nonprofits especially, and our county agencies that are there, that are in there every day. Another thing is the pre-release center. That's going to come back up. Our DA has done a good job of putting drug dealers in prison. The problem is we're running out of space. Who are we going to allow to walk free? And when I say free, we're also looking at the house arrest and the bracelets. Well, to me, that's not punishment. You're on house arrest. Your friends are still at the house with you. You wear a bracelet. You're still walking around. If we can move the non-violent criminals to a pre-release center, that opens up more places to put the drug dealers and the drug users in prison, and we can rehabilitate them. The addicts we can work with to rehabilitate, and we go back and we work when they're not there. Then we are able to go back and educate their children and their families on the effects that, on the positive ways to go. Thank you.
I think we all agree that Schuylkill County's most valuable resource is the youth of our community. And we need to continue to work with them, but it all begins at home. And if it doesn't start there, then it eventually gets somewhere else. And we talk to our caseworkers at Children and Youth, and they tell us the horror stories all the time of what they deal with and the challenges that they see. And then our folks at Drug and Alcohol. But again, it's our responsibility as commissioners to continue to provide those services. The question came up earlier in the debate about are you going to continue to provide services with limited budgeting? We are going to provide those services, and it's imperative that we provide those services because we need to address each and every issue that is confronted in Schuylkill County. Drug and alcohol abuse is a major issue, not only in this county. It's just not just unique to Schuylkill County. It's unique as to other counties in the Commonwealth. As you talk to other county commissioners of County Commissioner Association meetings, they're dealing with the same thing. But again, it all starts at home. But then when it comes to the county level, we need to make sure that those resources are there to address that issue.
I'd just like to close with saying, I'm not the polished guy, right? I'm one of you. I'm a business owner. I'm out here. This is the first time I've ever done this. I'll tell you that. I don't have the resume, the list of all the organizations I'm involved in. I'm out, I'm working, I'm raising my family. I have young children. But I'm here for you. Everything Gary and I have talked about, everything we're looking at doing comes from you. We're asking what you want. It doesn't matter if we want something, if everybody in this room is against it, it doesn't matter. So we're asking you, we're gonna find out what the issues are with everybody in the room and everyone in the county, and we're gonna take them back and we're gonna analyze them and we're gonna make a decision on that. We're out for everyone, we're not out for a few. So with that, Becky just raised her hand. I wanna thank you for the cordial morning we've had here, and have a good day. Get back to work.
Again, I'd like to thank the Schuylkill Chamber and the honor to be here. Again, it gives me another opportunity to run for further office other than mayor. Again, when I ran for mayor, it was something that I wanted to do, is to hopefully go out and make a difference. Make a difference for not my life, but also other people's lives. In 27 days, it'll be in your hands to choose the right team, the right leadership for Schuylkill County. That's why we come to you to run on our platform, to run on those issues of what concerns you. I just want to leave you a quote from our late former governor, Robert Casey. He said, "It's not what you do with the power of the office, but what you do with the office to help the people." That's what me and John are here in and what we're about to run and to hopefully lead you into the future. Thank you very much.
Again, I'd like to thank the Chamber and thank everyone for coming out so early in the morning to join us. My life and that of my family have been a life of service to my community, to my church, and to my neighbors. Frank and I'm very honored to run with Frank Stoudemire as my running mate for County Commissioner. We care about jobs and economic development. We care about doing the right thing for the community. We also care about open communication. This is not just our problem, it's everyone's problem. And we need to hear from the people. And sometimes you get some of your best ideas from those who may not feel that they have that voice. We need to listen to that. We care about running the county as a business. This is big business. We have got to make sure that we are efficient and make decisions that are financially sound and appropriate. We're not going to make promises that we can't keep. And we'd like to thank you all for coming out this morning. God bless. Thank you.
Let me sum it up with three simple words: leadership, commitment, and trust. George and I didn't wait till we got involved in the politics to be leaders. We have been leaders in Schuylkill County and took leadership roles prior to that. Commitment, you have our commitment that we will do what's in the best interest of everyone in Schuylkill County. And trust that we will do what we need to do to make Schuylkill County a better place to live, work, and raise a family. God bless each and every one of you, and God bless Schuylkill County.
Okay, before I turn it over to Bob Carl for some closing comments, I'd like to thank the members of the Government Affairs Committee. We're about 15 members strong, many of which are here today. Everybody shows up at every meeting, and I think a lot of that might have to do with the fact that Providence Place provides us with a very nice meeting room and a wonderful lunch once a month. So thank you, Providence Place, for that. And that concludes the debate portion of the morning. Bob, I believe you have some closing comments?
Good morning, everyone. I'll be very brief. I want to thank Schuylkill County Vision for hosting the breakfast this morning and the fine work they do. Kay Jones, as you know, has taken over the lead there as executive director, but no one forgets the work that Joanne Peroulis and the rest of the Vision board have done over the years. We support Vision and Kay and her staff, April, and the board of directors led by Buddy Tuchinski and the rest of the board. So I thank them very much for the great work they do and for hosting this breakfast. I, too, want to thank the Government Affairs Committee. They put in an awful lot of work. We've heard about them. We've heard about transportation. The list goes on, member services, education. That's the lifeline of the chamber, and that's why we're successful. No organization works well without grassroots work, and these people work tirelessly at the committee level to make sure that we bring these type of topics to the forefront. I thank Government Affairs and all of the committees. I especially want to thank the candidates. Sometimes you can say, I can understand being in your shoes. In this case, I honestly can. And so, I get it, and I get it in spades, and I understand what you're doing. And first and foremost, thank you for your willingness to serve Schuylkill County and the citizens of this county. I think that's the most important thing. Many can talk, very few want to step to the table and do it. And whether it's the current county commissioners or you as candidates, I thank you all for your willingness to serve the citizens of Schuylkill County.
Well, folks, we want to thank you for joining us here on Comcast 7. This is one of the many shows that we'll be doing here for local television. And once again, I want to thank all of you for your strong support for local television. You're going to see a lot more of it. We'll see you next time.